Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to What's Map, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very, very welcome. Well, sometimes bad things happen to good people and sometimes good things happen to bad people, and sometimes BonBon messes up and he hasn't got a clue how the heck he did it. Honestly, haven't a clue, but thank you very much to everybody in the comments for letting me know that Thursday last week, Steeples Lake was in fact Azure Coast from the Sunset Harbour DLC. My excuse is I've not reviewed the DLCs yet. I'm working on it, guys, I'm working. So I didn't recognise it was the wrong map. I did spot, however, that the thumbnail didn't match the screenshot, so I was part way there. Anyway, a big apology to everybody who watched the show and to the creator, but we're going to put everything right today by reviewing the correct map with the correct titles. How about that then? That's right, clicking that like button really does support the channel, gets me seen by more people and shows me you love me regardless how fallible I am. Today's map is Steeples Lake by Trumble. Okay Trumble, this is your map, that is your screenshot, it's making more sense now, okay, let's have a look at that start square. Now the start square doesn't have any road or rail connections, but that's okay, sort of, we'll cover that one in a minute. There is your terrain heights. Terrain heights are very hilly, very challenging, but workable in that centre 25 tiles. And then the resources, again in the centre 25 tiles, you've got a lot of options, and we've even got some oil out at sea. If you've got the Sunset Harbour DLC, then this is what your fishing legend will look like, and it looks very usable to me, even though I've never used it. Off to the workshop. No DLC is required today, or is there? And it does say use the 81 tiles mod. More of that in a moment. We'll be using the vanilla temperate theme and the realistic 1.2 LUT. Now, before we go any further, if you're looking at the roads going, oh, look at the standards, oh, ignore them for now, please, because this map has got an outstanding aspect, and I mean outstanding in a good way, as good as I've seen pretty much, I think, and I would use this map as a resource for people that are map making and want to learn something. This is a map to go to learn good standards on something specific. Not so much a networking, we'll get to that in a moment. Let's start off though by addressing the elephant in the room, and that is it is a national road. It is a mass transit national road, which means you do need mass transit for this one, which means that anybody experienced with my show will know exactly what score this map is going to get for gameplay potential. So yeah, there is that coming. Now the 81 tile mod thing is a different thing altogether. Now it does say use the 81 tile mod. Now I know what it is. Heck, I've done a tutorial on it. You know what it is because you're experienced Cities Skylines players and you've seen my tutorial on it. But what if you haven't? What if you're new? What if you've never played the game before? What if this is your first download off of the workshop? What if maybe you have heard of it but you've heard the rumour that it breaks your game? But it doesn't. That's what I'm saying anyway. It doesn't work for me. So anyway, long story short is use the 81 tile mod as an instruction is great, but it really does need a link to the 81 tile mod so that you can go across and subscribe to it, and then you've got, it's a requirement for the map, yeah, especially if there's no road or rail in the start square. Even with that though, even by saying look, you haven't got the 81 tile mod, you're going to work this, let's say you've got mass transit by chance and you're not got the 81 tile mod, then oh hang on, we're at the end of the highway already. And we'll get back to the 81 tile mod in a moment. So anyway, end of the highway is here. We're quite some way from the start square, which is about there. Okay, quite some way. The good news though is the rail gets quite close to the start square and we have a rail connection here. So perhaps we could do like a rail hub, road rail hub here. Yeah, I think that would work. And yes, we'll talk about the rail in a moment. So yes, the 81 tile mod is... it's not really essential for this map because even without a road and rail connection, this map might still work. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Right, so the rail. The rail is a bit uppy-downy, even for what is clearly a fantasy map, and I would normally give a bit of an allowance for fantasy maps, allowing a steeper gradient or a more shall we say, quirky rail network, such as the one we saw from Anabu Merinageru the other week. Was it Rallywaya? Rallywaya, that's the one. Yep, I'd allow for that. It was a bit of fun. One thing I will say, that on the positive, trying to find a positive thing to say, always find positive things to say in the comments where you can, guys, okay? The rail we're looking at, and it is haphazard, but there's no catenary chaos. Every time we get to a junction, you look at those catenaries, there's nothing straddling the line. We have got Humpback Bridge, which is rail trains like that, but in context of the rest of the map, that Humpback Bridge is not bad at all. We do have some drowned trees. Drowned tree. Shall I? Haven't done that joke for a while. Oh, I see, he's wearing his trunk. Yeah, okay. I know some of you do like to hear the old jokes wheeled out every single time, and so there we go. Anyway, so we're heading up now into the hills via the rail towards the start square. Now, the start square, this doesn't actually go into start square, but it gets sort of close. You could take this into the map editor and just stretch the rail out and give yourself a rail connection. If you're using the unlock all mod and you would have access to the railways right off the bat, then that would kind of work. Here, look, no catenary chaos here either. There or there. This is positive things to say about what is, I'm sorry to say, a negative subject, which is the rail. But do remember, we've got a very positive aspect coming up in the second half of the show. Right, so the rail, this is as close as we're going to get to the start square. It's nicely clear, flat land here, definitely buildable space here as well. And if we show you roughly where the start square is, so it's kind of this area here, it's like to the right bit, a little bit and up a bit. But yes, it's all there. But we do have these. Just outside of the start square today, why not? Let's go out on a limb. It's the Japan Bookstore by OSARUSAN. Now, being a Westerner, I don't know the difference between Japanese and Chinese writing. I'm sure there's a very, very definite difference between Japanese and Chinese writing. But I don't recognise the difference, so I would be probably very insensitive and use this in Chinatown. But I think it would work. It maybe is Oriental Town. That's what we'll call it. Anyway, factoids because factoids. And today we've got a good one. On today's dates, the 6th of July in 1535, Sir Thomas More was beheaded for refusing to give his blessing for the divorce of King Henry VIII and his first wife, Catherine of Aragon. As he rested his head on the chopping block, Sir Thomas moved his beard to one side with the words, "At least this hath not offended the king." How do you know, Sir Thomas? How do you know? It might have had bits of food in it or something. It might be more bushy than the king's. Could be. Anyway, the Japan Bookstore by OSARUSAN. That is today's very nice asset of the day. And so back to the lovely rail network. The lovely, lovely rail network. As we head off on our perilous journey. Now, there's plenty more to see with the networking. So I wouldn't skip just yet, because there's something you're not expecting. I'm trying to save these like cliffhangers, and there are some cliffhangers with these roads and rails, I tell you. We've got some cliffhangers to come. Question mark over some more of the networking, which doesn't really fit with the. We've got a little hint of blue mantle under there. If you get down low enough, you can see from a distance. But in context with the rest of the networking, it's probably not the worst thing in the world. Another very solid looking junction there. Whether you get a full train in that junction, I don't know, but it's still solid. I know some of you like to be able to get a full train in the junction so that you get a bit of the train flow as such. Okay, heading up into the mountains, it's a bit on the steep side and it will dead end right here. Don't understand why it would dead end right there, but fortunately it is very close to a new highway. And back to the mass transit national roads. So now, we are right-hand drive here, that I can tell you. We're definitely right-hand drive. I've not done any tweaking or twisting with the system, and you'll be able to see from the arrows that it is on the correct side of the road here. We head up into the hills. You'll see something very weird happening as we switch from a mass transit national road to a mass transit 2-lane highway. Now, the mass transit 2-lane highway is kind of a loop, but it's coming in from the left, as we're looking at it here. This is a left-hand drive highway, because as we go on here, it kind of comes back together. It is a loop, but it is also kind of pretending to be a highway. So with the street lamps on the inside, that tells us that we are left-hand drive on the right-hand side. Don't think it really matters that much in context of the rest of the map, but it caught my eye. I thought it was a bit weird, and I thought it was well worth showing off. Remember though, this map is not about the networking, it's about something very specific in the second half of the show that you're going to want to learn from. Pretty much all of you, I would suggest. Are you ready? Intermission time.
Are you confused by all those buttons running along the top and bottom of the screen? And what was that icon for again? Does anyone know? Then you need BonBonB's Beginner's Guide to the User Interface. Click the Information button now.
And so back to Steeples Lake by Trumble, and we have shipping routes. We have a little one here in a little bay there. Ignore that one. It's there if you need it. We have another one here. Now ignore the tight turning there. We are right on the edge of the map. I don't mind that in deep fog. That would be fine. Now this shipping route follows up through the narrow pass there into the harbour area, which is workable. And that route on the left there goes back out the way it came. Then if we follow this up, we go crashing through the very low rail bridge there. No vanilla ship is going to get through there safely. And it's quite narrow and fairly shallow. In fact, at that point there, very worryingly shallow. I think the ship would get through that one. Whether it gets through this, I don't know. That, for me, could be the game breaker. Because this leads up to the start square. This is the start square area here with another right angled turning going on. And if you can get ships up here, with the unlock all, so you can unlock harbours, you would be able to work this as a harbour start and then connect up to the road and rail networks later. But will the ships get over there? I haven't tested it. I'm suspecting no. Maybe they will. Sometimes you see them manage to make their way cross country. I'm thinking that that would not. It's a bit too much land there. I think it's touch and go. It's not ideal anyway, that's for sure. And then if we head off to the edge of the map, we reach the edge of the map there. Now, water flow. And this is where the show starts getting interesting. Because we have got very good water flow. It's a working river system. It looks good. It feels good. We've got decent amount of water going down through the system. And an interesting looking system as well. It's quite complex, and we'll be looking at this in a bit more detail after we checked out the map as a whole. So as a whole, we've got a reasonable amount of buildable space in the middle of the map. We've got some interesting let's look at some of the detailing, okay? So credit with the detailing with the Ars Essential Lighthouse and a couple of jetties. And the jetties are clipped very nicely into the terrain. I just don't think the terrain's been worked effectively around them. We can see a little bit of terrain glitching around them there. Got some islands out here. Don't mind these islands. They're not the most exciting things in the world, but they're perfectly adequate. Again, another essential lighthouse there. A slightly elevated shipwreck there, just above the waterline. But not the world's biggest problem there, because once again, you're not going to be looking at it. Another one here as well. Heading down to the harbour area, which is marked out with everybody's favourite factory. And another jetty. Again, the jetties are all worked into the terrain, as are the trees worked into the terrain as well. Very much so. Okay, so that's kind of like the base detailing going on there. There are other little bits and pieces, like... also, I've got to say, the screenshots are taken with a custom theme and LUT. This is vanilla. Now, I don't mind these mountains, by the way. Even though they're fantasy mountains, I mean, they're not the most exciting things in the world, but they work within the map. I'm happy to accept these. They're fine. But yes, with a custom theme and LUT, this would look a lot better. Now, I am subscribed to dozens and dozens and dozens of custom themes. And, oh, we've got a little shrine area here as well. But no theme loaded when I loaded up this map. So I don't know which theme they would like to have used. don't mind this little area here. It's all the sirens today outside. Hello. I don't mind the detail. This reminds me of Saturday's map a little bit, actually, in terms of detailing and a little twisty detailing going on. But yes, with the theme and LUT that was used in the screenshot and the thumbnail, this would look a lot better. Unfortunately, I don't know what they used, and this is what loaded, so this is what we're running with, the vanilla temperate. So anyway, right, so we've checked out some of the mountains and the buildable area and all of the detailing and the networking and the horns outside my window. What's going on? I don't know. And down to the pièce de résistance, the river system. I'll tell you what, look at the depth of the riverbanks here. Beautiful. Possibly could do a little bit more foliage along the riverbanks, maybe, arguably. But I'd let that go for all of the rest of what we get here. This is very slick and tidy. Now, if you try to build a really decent water system, you would know how difficult it is to get a really effective, attractive water system. Again, with a better theme and LUT, this would look so much better than the murky colours that we've got here today. We have got these waterfalls. Now, vanilla rocks can cause water glitching. As you see, it's not too bad at the bottom there. We've got a little bit of water glitching stuck in here, but that's about as bad as it gets. The rest of it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. A little bit on the right there, a little bit gluey and gloopy. The spawn point, I'm okay with. I think a slightly larger lake or just more of a trickle coming off of the mountains would be better, but I give that 4 out of 5. And the rest of it, I would have given 5 out of 5, apart from the slightly glitchy bit of water. Let's check out another one just to show that's not a standout on its own. So here we go, go up this route instead. Again, good rock placement again. The vanilla rocks worked really well here. And good rock detailing here again. Simple, effective rock detailing, not overdoing it. And again, shall we go to the left? Why not to the left? Spawn point there. Now, do I believe that one? Yeah. I can see the water running off those hills into that valley. And the lakes, look at the lake placement, the lake shapes. Everything about it feels really very nice indeed. One more, let's do one more. This one up here, this is following like a little mountain stream here into a lake system here. Another that's fed by a little stream over here as well. Sorry, voice is going, I'll clear this in a moment. And a little lake up here, this is your spawn point. Lakes over here, feeding down to the river system over here. You see what I mean? This is exquisite. If you are having trouble with water networks and you need some inspiration, you could find very few better maps than this one for learning from. This is a 5-star water network. Unfortunately, I don't have a star rating for water networking, so it won't really benefit from the end of show ratings. But all told, I freaking love it. Anyway, what do you think of this map as a whole? Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewer's Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of the month? Only you can decide. Hit the I button now in the top right hand corner. You can log in with your standard YouTube, which you're watching now, or with Facebook, Gmail, Patreon, or whatever. Okay, let me tell you what I think of this map as a whole. I like the design. I love the water networking. Those things are kind of 4 stars. The overall aesthetics, though, are kind of 2 stars. So I'm gonna mesh it out in the middle and make it a mashy 3-star. A mashy 3-star for aesthetics. Detailing, again, if water detailing was a thing, then that would score very highly. But I think overall, I'm struggling to give this 3 stars. Very, very struggling to give it 3 stars. I can only give it 2. I'm sorry, but that's the best I can do. And so on to the big bugbear, which is gameplay. Now, if you've got mass transit and you've got the 81 tile mod and you want to unlock stuff and use mods, then this is a playable map. But the lack of a declaration for mass transit means I have to award 1 star, because if you don't have mass transit, you'll sit there for 10 minutes waiting for the map to load and it will be broken, and nobody wants that to happen. Steeples Lake by Trumble. Let's say it, this map is as good as it gets with any sort of water system, but certainly a fantasy map water system I freaking love it, and I'll be sending people to check this map out when they ask me about how do you do water systems. That's a good place to learn. Anyway, if you're still here, you are in the 20 and out elite. Score yourself 100 population points by using the word of the day in today's comments. Of course, I need to also thank everybody who's a BonBon buddy. Thank you very much for subscribing for yet another month. Couldn't do this without you. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Thanks for watching.